What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Ace. Today we're checking a new video by SWAGKAGE. Actually, not even new video to me though. Obviously, this is a big question to everyone. I want to check it out. Why the Uchiha clan is so overpowered? Because if you guys don't know, in Naruto, or if you already know, probably a lot of people already know, the Uchiha are fucking broken. Like Kishimoto was stroking that Uchiha dick, like absolutely fucking ridiculous. Itachi, Sasuke, Obito, Madara, Izuna, fucking Kagami, fucking Fugaku, every Uchiha, bro. The Uchiha were just broken, and apparently Senju were the better clan and stronger, but they still made the Uchiha somehow on top of that. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, they still made the Uchiha be the strongest out of all of them, just straight stroking, and made Uchihas win battles when they shouldn't have. Like, but nonetheless, I'm not an Uchiha hater. I really like the Uchiha. Some of my favorite characters: Itachi, Obito, Madara. So we're about to check these guys out and see why they're so overpowered. Let's get to see what SWAGKAGE says about them.
I really do like your.
Hold up. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, trigger those bells, and let's get into the video, baby.
SWAGKAGE, I really do.
Hold up. I could turn it up a little bit. Alright.
SWAGKAGE, I really do like your channel, but I'm gonna give you a criticism I'm sure you never heard before. You really get on my nerves when you make the Uchiha the way you do. Like, you got Madara and Itachi's dick buried in your throat, Sasuke's ball sack dragging across your face, and you really just don't seem to know what you're talking about. I know nobody's ever brought this to your attention before. It's just something you might want.
Obviously, he's being sarcastic because he hears this shit all the time. There's like this sort of like, what is it? Stereotype that he's a Madara dick rider, basically, in the community of Naruto. So it's like, it's fucking hilarious.
Consider, because it's really annoying.
Now, I want you guys to do me a favor. Put yourself in my shoes and try and imagine waking up every day and hearing somebody say something like this to you at least 3 times.
Yeah,
daily
Itachi and
for about a
Sasuke
year.
down
Those
your
of you with
throat.
very active imaginations who aren't really able to grasp what this might lead to, you might start developing some pretty terrible urges to do things like shove a nail gun down your throat and start firing, walk into oncoming traffic,
Chill,
drink
bro.
an entire gallon of glue, jump off of a 15-story building, among other things of the same nature. There are probably a bunch of other symptoms that I have yet to discover. So for the sake of my mental and physical health, I think that I ought to at least attempt to put a stop to all of the Uchiha bias comments that I've been receiving for the past year plus, give or take, or at the very least,
Fat
ever since I
rim,
started doing
fat
first
fatties
stuff.
3.
Now, one thing that I should make clear before we get started is that I'm not just making this video to defend my stances on various versus battles. See, the fact that I received so many of these comments in the first place is an indication that there are a whole lot of people who don't seem to understand just how overpowered the members of this clan are. So I figured it would do the community some good if I made a video examining that. Now, before we can get into the topic at hand, I need to establish which members of the Uchiha clan had a lot of story significance.
Alright, let's check a look. We got Izuna, Madara, Obito, Sasuke, Itachi, Kagami, and Shisui.
And in order to determine that, I need to take a look at each member of the clan and ask myself a yes or no question. Did this character's actions have a heavy, direct impact on the overall Naruto narrative? Now, there are 4 characters who fit this description: Sasuke, Itachi, Madara, and Obito. Now, let's take a look at each of these characters individually to get a better idea of why they're so important.
Coldest
Sasuke
clan
is a main
out there.
character. I'm pretty sure I don't even need to go into detail to explain his importance. Now, Naruto, like many other series that have a lot of main characters, sort of has a hierarchy for its main cast. And what I mean by that is there are some main characters that are more important than others. Sasuke is at the very tippy top of the Naruto main character totem pole, right next to the character the series is named after, Naruto Uzumaki. So while there are plenty of other main characters like Sakura, Kakashi, and less important Sai, the rest of the Konoha 11, and so on, Sasuke is particularly important. So important, as a matter of fact, that there are a handful of chapters where Kishimoto takes the camera away from Naruto and focuses it on Sasuke for a rather extensive period of time. While Kishimoto does focus on more than just Naruto and Sasuke from time to time, and gives pretty much every character in the series a pretty lengthy backstory, Sasuke is without a doubt one of only 2 characters he's chosen to focus on as much as he has. Next up, we have Itachi, who's Sasuke's brother, and as I just explained, Sasuke is one of the most important characters in the entire series. Now, this on its own wouldn't be enough to automatically make Itachi significant, but for the first 2/3 of the series, killing Itachi was Sasuke's only goal. Getting strong enough to kill this guy was his only motivation up until halfway through the pain arc, and there are a whole lot of plot points that revolved around the conflict between these two. As a matter of fact, this ended up spawning an entire arc that had just about nothing to do with Itachi, that being the Sasuke retrieval arc, where Sasuke left the village in order to train with Orochimaru.
But then again, we got like 60 flashback stories about the Sasuke's origins. What, Tom? My bad, guys. That's my cat. He's a barn cat, and he really loves going outside, but it's late at night. Like, no. He'll be outside for like hours, and then all of a sudden, we bring him in, 20 minutes later, he wants to go outside again. It's like, bro, chill. Yeah, no, ya está. Dormir, mimis. Okay? Okay, papi? Mañana salimos, okay? Promise, mañana. Mañana, papi, okay? I'm sorry.
As a result, they are both automatically incredibly important members of the cast, with arguably just as much significance as Itachi and Sasuke. Now, I want you to ask yourself what all 4 of these characters have in common. The answer is that the
broken abilities, lengthy battles, stupid fucking logic of never losing, but badass, cold-ass motherfuckers.
plot demands they be strong. For one reason or another, all 4 of these characters have to be overpowered or else the story falls apart. Sasuke is Naruto's rival, and he exists to be stronger than him. At least throughout the beginning of the series, the only reason Sasuke is there is to give Naruto something to work.
And actually, I'm rewatching Naruto, the series, the OG Naruto, so you guys want to follow along with me, check out the channel, subscribe, like, trigger those bells, because he's actually becoming one of my favorite characters, and this is just to point out, I don't hate the Uchiha. I just think it's stupid that they were dick riding him, the Uchiha, for so long, Kishimoto. But he's actually becoming one of my favorite characters. Check out the channel to find out why. Like, the episodes in OG Naruto, the early episodes, super good, man. And, like, Sasuke is one of my favorite characters right now.
Towards. As a result, he has to be really strong. Meanwhile, Itachi serves the exact same purpose, but for Sasuke, so he has to be even more overpowered. See, for the first 2/3 of the series, because of the type of character Itachi was, he had to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest member of the core cast. And this is because he was an international criminal and a menace to a lot of people, so if Kishimoto introduced somebody capable of beating him, chances are they would do it, and that would end up robbing one of his main characters of one of their most important achievements. Killing his older brother and subsequently realizing that he wasn't the person he thought he was is one of the most important moments for Sasuke as a character, and ends up defining the person he becomes throughout the third chunk of the story. Madara and Obito are as strong as they are for obvious reasons.
I have no complaints with the OG Naruto
especially
story.
given the circumstances that required they fight literally every other ninja on the planet at once. They had to be absurdly powerful, or else it would have been way too easy for Kishimoto to wrap things up in the end. Plus, Madara, and I guess Obito as well, had hundreds of chapters of build-up to live up to. Madara because his name kept getting thrown around by a multitude of characters, and
Obito because the Uchiha kept getting mentioned all the time, how broken they were.
Obito because he masqueraded as Madara for a very long time, and also operated as the series' main villain from behind the scenes for a while. Trust me, if these two weren't outrageously powerful, people would have been disappointed. It just would have felt underwhelming. Now, the reason I'm explaining all of this is to let people know that these characters aren't inherently overpowered just because they're Uchiha. It's instead because they're extremely important to the story. As a matter of fact, I'd venture to say that it's the opposite, that the Uchiha clan only gets as much hype as it does because 4 of its members were such important characters. Because, like, originally, the members of the Hyuga clan were supposed to be top dog, if you remember back to part 1, when they were introduced, but none of the Hyuga ended up being incredibly important. Neji got relegated to the role of side character, and Hinata didn't really become important until her romance with Naruto.
Yo, real talk, because apparently, like, the Hyuga always said, like, they're the mightiest in the leaf. I remember Hisashi or Hiyashi, I forget who it is, who's the main person that's alive. Hinata's dad, basically, when they were getting invaded by the leaf village, by the sand and sound, Hiyashi was like, we're the mightiest in the leaf, so watch out, blah, blah, blah. And then when, I think it's Hiyashi or Hishashi, whatever, Hinata's dad, Hinata, and Neji were fighting in the war. He's like, we're the mightiest in the leaf, remember that. And I'm just like, yeah, but I mean, there's the Uzumakis, there's the Uchihas, there's the, you know, Rock Lees and all that. So, I mean, I don't know if we're really the mightiest out there. And especially since, like, it's just, like, 1 or 2 powerful Hyugas. Everyone else is mid. So it's like, who really knows?
Naruto became a narrative focal point, so hopefully you're starting to see why the clan seemed a lot less imposing in Shippuden than it did in part 1. And if you want some more evidence for what I'm talking about, just go and rewatch the whole series, and you won't be able to find a single Uchiha outside of the 4 I've mentioned anywhere to be seen. Outside of flashbacks, they don't show up. And even the ones that do appear in flashbacks don't do anything and don't seem to be too terribly powerful. Now this is important because the fact that all 4 Uchiha who do anything within the boundaries of the main series are top-tier characters with a lot of focus placed on them makes it seem like the clan in general is a lot more powerful and a lot more important than it actually is. Since every Uchiha we see is a fucking badass, we as audience members can't be faulted for just kind of assuming that that's how every member of the clan is. In reality, that's not the case. Now, I rather conveniently have a pretty easy way for you guys to rewatch the series if you want to humor me. That doesn't require you to break the law or pull out your credit card. Today's video is sponsored by Verve, an app owned by the team over at Crunchyroll that hosts a whole bunch of different streaming sites, including the 2 biggest anime streaming platforms on the market.
Bro, first of all, if you guys can hear that, my apologies. My cat's just whining about going outside.
How much I love this series. See, it's inevitable for an author to grow attached to certain characters of theirs in particular over the course of writing their story. It's totally understandable. But the way Kishimoto chooses to display this favoritism is generally at the expense of everybody else. Now let me elaborate on what I just said.
Dude was. I keep telling you guys.
Because this is a bit of a complicated issue to discuss. There are a lot of factors to this problem. The first of these is the fact that Naruto is very fast-paced. Despite the fact that it's 72 volumes long, a lot tends to happen over short periods of time.
No cap, even though I'm rewatching the series and Naruto early episodes, I gotta get my hands on those manga books. Like, I low-key want to start reading manga.
The Land of Waves arc is only 4 volumes long, and this is a link that many of the other arcs throughout the series share. To put this into perspective as effectively as I possibly can, Shippuden
Damn,
starts
bro,
at volume 28.
just the
Jiraiya versus
drawings
Pain
look
takes
so
place in
sick.
volume 41. In other words, the Kazekage rescue arc, the Orochimaru and Sasuke arc, the Hidan and Takazu arc, and the Itachi pursuit arc all take place over the course
That's
of
a
13
sick
volumes.
cover,
That's a lot
bro.
of stuff to cram
I might
into a
get.
relatively
Look,
short
I'm not even kidding. I'm thinking about getting tattoos. Like, I don't have any tattoos, and I might get something like that tatted. That looks so sick.
arc all take place over the course of 13 volumes. That's a lot of stuff to cram
Or even
into
like a
relatively
poster,
short
not
amount
even
of space.
tatted, just like in
Kishimoto's
general.
also
That's a
extremely
sick
ambitious. He likes to introduce a bunch of
design.
characters and a bunch of ideas all at once, all while trying to keep the story moving forward. Now, because of this, he runs into a problem where he has so many characters to work with that there is no conceivable way for him to focus on all of them, at least without causing the story to come to a grinding halt. And in
Yeah.
any series, as you progress through it, you expect a very clear sense of progression. And in Shonen, this sense of progression typically comes from a progressive increase in the power of the characters. Now, as I've established, Naruto is very fast-paced, so this progression happens very, very quickly. For instance, in just 19 volumes, Naruto goes from being incapable of performing even basic ninjutsu to mastering the summoning jutsu, which allows him to summon a Sanin-level sage creature, the multi-shadow clone jutsu, an A-rank ninjutsu that even Jonin struggled to master, and the Rasengan, a legendary ninjutsu known only by the 4th Hokage and a member of the 3 legendary Sanin, Jiraiya. Also, by the end of the second arc, you have ridiculous shit happening like Gaara transforming into a tailed beast, and Orochimaru reanimating the first 2 Hokage in order to assassinate the 3rd Hokage. So with insanely quick progression like this, it's just not possible for Kishimoto to focus on every member of the cast here. He has to keep the story.
I get that. Like, a lot of us in the community kind of complain about how, like, all these characters didn't get their due diligence. Like, Shino, he would have been a badass character, wasted potential. Neji, strong, amazing, talented, smart, prodigy, wasted. But the reality is, like, Kishimoto, he's trying his best. He's got a story to run, and it's just, I mean, unless there was more chapters or more time, there's just no way that we could get a full expansion on the other Naruto characters, which is why a spin-off should have been made instead of Baruto. The full expansion of, like, the early Akatsuki years, Minato's lifestyle, the other characters, blah blah blah, instead of just filler episodes.
Forward somehow, so like I said, he plays favorites. He has some characters progress more quickly than others, and the two that feel the effects of this most strongly are Naruto and Sasuke. Now, in the moment, their development does tend to feel very natural. They become stronger, faster, more durable, and learn new jutsu, just as every shinobi should. But when looking at it in hindsight, because Kishimoto focuses on the two of them so heavily, the amount of growth the two of them experience dwarfs that of the other characters, and that's not surprising, not to anybody who's watched the series, but it is relevant to this video. Now, because Kishimoto has a habit of introducing a ton of new characters that he has no intention of developing, Naruto and Sasuke seem to blaze past everybody. Now, initially, this isn't much of a problem because at the beginning of the series, they're both low-level shinobi. They're Genin, and they have mentors that are much stronger than both of them. But eventually, as things tend to go in Shonen, the two of them manage to surpass all of their former mentors.
Damn,
and this is where the
Sage
problem comes in.
mode.
Kishimoto has to make villains stronger than, or relative to the strength of both of them, so that
Right.
neither of them breeze through any challenges they're met with.
But then that becomes a problem because then the other characters basically are useless. This is kind of the reason why I didn't like Dragon Ball Z that much. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't remember a whole ton of it. I haven't watched much episodes past, like, a few episodes here and there on Super, and that was basically through YouTube or, like, through TV when it was playing in the background. But when I was younger, and I remember watching the OG Dragon Ball, because who didn't grow up on OG Dragon Ball Z? I remember just, like, fucking, first of all, it was dope, but also in hindsight, looking back at it, I'm just like, wait a minute, everyone got their ass kicked only for Goku to save the day, and, like, that's it. Like, repetitive. Like, everyone goes in, fights, gets their ass kicked, Goku saves the day. I think when the Vegeta and Nappa came in, everyone went in, got their ass kicked, Goku saved the day. Then the Ginyu Force, or was it, came in, everyone got their ass kicked, including Vegeta, Goku saved the day. Androids come, everyone got their ass kicked, except for, wait, did Goku actually beat their ass in that one? It might have been Trunks or something like that. Frieza, everyone gets their ass kicked, Goku saves the day. And it's just a repetitive thing. So, I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a while since I watched Dragon Ball. And when you're young, you watch it on TV. You don't watch all episodes back to back. You just watch it 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, etc. But that's what I remember. That's what kind of turned me off to, like, rewatching it when I'm an adult. So this is where it could be a problem. Like, you got these characters that are being so OP so quick that their opponents are going to be so strong, where it's just kind of be only relying on the main characters to win, which is kind of boring. You want to see that action from the side characters, in my opinion.
As a result of this, everybody that they've surpassed starts to get left behind as the villains become stronger and
Right.
stronger. This eventually reached the point where Sasuke was fighting the fucking 5 Kage. One arc before, Naruto was fighting alongside those same Kage against reanimated versions of some of the past 5 Kage and a bunch of other Kage-level enemies. Well, of course, these were not the final villains of the story, so inevitably the characters were going to have to run into a villain strong enough to act as a roadblock for all of these Kage-level fighters. Kishimoto introduced 2 villains to fill this role, and both of them happened to be Uchiha. Now, there was another main villain who was at the very least temporarily on the same side as Madara and Obito. That was Kabuto.
That motherfucker lost to an Uchiha, which is insane, bro.
Now, I assume Kishimoto made Kabuto so powerful because he wanted to give Sasuke an opponent while Naruto was off fighting Tobi, and it obviously couldn't be Madara because he'd been hyping Madara up for fucking eons, and if Sasuke, another Uchiha, one who was only like 16 or 17 at that, came along and got rid of him, well, that wouldn't be very satisfying. As a matter of fact, that would be stupid. But then he must have realized that Kabuto was way too powerful for Sasuke to take on alone. But he couldn't think of anybody that Sasuke would ally himself with, so he decided to break Itachi free of the Edo Tensei and have Itachi do most of the fighting against Kabuto, which further contributed to the problem I'm talking about today. 2 of the series' final villains were Uchiha. The only non-Uchiha was taken out by 2 Uchiha. And incidentally, the 4 Uchiha I'm talking about are the only Uchiha characters in the whole series, so because of all of this, it sort of gives the audience an impression that the Uchiha clan in general is just really overpowered. This isn't helped by the
Crazy,
fact that
man.
Shisui is also given a lot of background significance because apparently he has the 2 greatest Sharingan of all time. Sharingan so powerful that Danzo was able to control Mifune with one of them. He claims he would have been able to control Obito with the same eye. And Itachi was able to break free of Kabuto's control using Kodo Amatsukami. So even though he doesn't even show up outside of flashbacks, Shisui still has a pretty strong presence in the series, which sort of adds credence to the idea that Kishimoto really liked the Uchiha. Another thing that doesn't really help is the fact that Obito and Madara are on the opposite side of Sasuke. There was also a time where Sasuke and Itachi opposed one another, and so this sort of created a vicious...
I will say this, though. What came out of this is so fucking dope. Uchiha versus Uchiha. Sasuke versus Itachi. Sasuke versus Obito. Sasuke versus Madara. Obito versus Madara. Like, this is what's fucking dope. Like, you get to see OP character versus OP character, so that's what's dope. This is the only cool thing that came out of it.
cycle of progression, where Kishimoto took powers or attributes that he'd given to one Uchiha and decided, well, because they have it, now this other Uchiha has to have it too. For instance, I have a feeling that the Susanoo started out as an Itachi exclusive ability, and it was only when Kishimoto was trying to think of ways to make Sasuke stronger that he went, hey, actually, it'd be cool if I gave that to Sasuke too. And then as a result of that, Madara got the Susanoo, and it just became this clan-wide ability that anybody could potentially unlock, but nobody really did. Then Madara had his super special Susanoo, the perfect Susanoo, and because of that, Kishimoto was like, well, I guess I gotta eventually give Sasuke a perfect Susanoo, and while I'm at it, since Madara has a Rinnegan, I guess I gotta give Sasuke one too. That sort of thing.
Right.
I haven't really gone into detail about
Fucking
how each
broken.
Uchiha is overpowered by analyzing their moveset. I guess if you guys want a video of me doing that, then sure, leave a request for it in the comments and I'll get to it in the future. But in this video, I just wanted to focus on the narrative reasons why they ended up being as OP as they are.
Okay, I mean,
They're
that
all
makes
really
sense.
tightly connected, so when
They have to be OP because the story and plot, the way it was written, requires them to be. You can't have Sasuke be weak if he's Naruto's rival, so he just happens to coincidentally be an Uchiha. And they coincidentally made a story about him wanting to kill his brother who was an Uchiha, so that entails the Uchiha being super stronger than Sasuke. And then there's a folklore legend Uchiha that just happened to be alive, and so that guy has to be the final boss villain, blah blah blah. At least I get it, man. I get why the story is the way it is. There's so many cons and so many pros, but can't complain. Naruto is what it is, and we love it, and you know, it got me where I am today, so I'm happy with it. At least the final villain in Naruto, which was Kaguya, wasn't like Uchiha descendant or something, because I would have lost my shit there. But yeah, good video overall by SWAGKAGE. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's check out some of the comments, speaking of. Throwback to when the Byakugan was stated to be outright stronger than the Sharingan. I remember that. I remember that when I was younger, hearing that, and the man, it sucks they never came out with like a better version of the Byakugan during the Mangekyo Sharingan and EMS stages. Like, I think there's a thing called Tenseigan, but that's like after Naruto finished, which was stupid. It's like we don't even hear about this till after the fact, when it's irrelevant at that point. When you realize Obito is more important because he's the reason that everything is happening. Yeah. Why is the Uchiha clan so OP? Because Sharingan is hacks. True. Hyuga, we are the strongest in Konoha. Uchiha, hold my blood hacks. True. The Uchiha are way too strong. The second Hokage does not like this. Man, he saw the potential and how dangerous they could have been. And they're a clan full of hates, supposedly. So, and I mean, I get where he was coming from. I don't agree with it, but I get what he's saying. I love how Shisui consistently appears in the background of images as he's trying to say that he forgot Shisui existed. He was a badass, not gonna lie. All right, that was it for the episode or the video. Hope you guys liked it, enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, trigger those bells, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.